going to start us with our video.
Well, wrong one.
Let's start with this one. Here we go. There we are. We are live. Good morning. I'm off screen.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, good morning. Good morning, Joy. Glad to see you. Good morning, Carol. Good morning, good morning, Bobby. Good morning, Rita. Good morning, Michael. And oh, wait. Let me make it a bigger screen.
I'm going to give another good morning. Good morning, afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. It is good time of day to you. It is where I am in the Pacific Northwest, just 8 o'clock in the morning, and I welcome you.
4 o'clock this afternoon.
All right, fantastic. And it is different times wherever you are, but this is a good time to be here. So thank you guys for being here. Our usual, let me give a usual little announcements. I'm Rabbi Brian, it says so right there. We are streaming live. The cool thing, this was just set up this week, which is really neat. We've lost we've no longer are streaming directly to YouTube and to Facebook, but we are streaming directly to rotb.org. And if I ask everyone, if you would, there's everyone. Everyone, would you wave to all the people who are watching live or watching, or you could even wave to the people who are watching the recording. And people who are watching the recording, you can wave back. A little awkward, but why not? Nobody can see you. It's fine. They don't know. Good. Well, welcome everyone. Welcome Jess, and welcome to James, and to anyone whose name I didn't yet say. Oh my goodness, that worked. Katie wrote in, we are actually streaming, and she wrote hello, so that's good. Here, I can put it right there.
So I'm Rabbi.
Yes.
This is Amy. I was able to get in.
Oh, fantastic. It's Cousin Amy, my friends. That's great. Glad to know that you're here.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Welcome.
Hi, Amy.
Let's let her talk for a moment.
No, I just was saying hi back.
Okay, well, we're glad that you're here, honey. Take it all in. This is a pretty groovy religious gathering in that most of the people who are here have never met in person, but that does not mean that this isn't still a real community. And even though we don't share a specific dogma, and we don't share a specific belief system, and we're not doing it according to any religious rules, this still does count as a religious community. So if you're, on your end of the week form, did I attend any religious service? You can check off, yes, indeed you did. This counts. The hour that we do here actually counts for 1.5 hours. I have a special relationship with the heavens on that, so you're getting extra credit for being here to... Yes, I'm sure about that. As usual, I ask those of you who are joining live to keep your microphones hot so that you can interact. And here's the thing I wanted to tell you. I looked up a little bit more about these things. There's this Jewish tradition, and it's called a tish. It's a Yiddish word for table. And what rabbis used to do, and the affectionate word for your rabbi would be a rebbe, as opposed to rabbi. But a rebbe's tish was where the rabbi would have people gather around the rabbi's table, usually on a Friday night or a Saturday, and the rabbi would teach. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, that's really what I'm doing here. This is my very own rabbi's tish. This is where I'm trying to teach whatever it is that I know. And because it's around a table, this isn't a lecture, this is live. So if you have a question, you can raise your electronic hand, or you can raise your hand and let us know if you have a comment to make, whatever it is. So glad that you're here. We're going to start today. I'm going to start by taking a breath of air. Not that I wasn't breathing already, but
That's a requirement.
it actually is. There are very few requirements here, but breathing is one of them. The choice you have is whether you do it consciously or not. The choice you have in breathing is, are you breathing consciously or not? And we could expand that to talk about our lives in general. we could live our lives without doing it consciously, or we could live our lives being conscious of what's going on. And the goal of a religious life, of a spiritual life, of a life aimed towards the sacred and holy, is to be here now, to be aware of where we are when we're here. So I welcome all of us to be here. And we're going to start today, as we've started many other weeks before, with a moment of silence. And that moment of silence is for those who have passed, those who have died, those who are suffering. And we've taken in this little community to add some names to that. And our dear friend Joe, who celebrated a birthday yesterday, happy 63rd birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday.
Birthday, Joe.
Happy birthday.
And if Alex, if you would be so kind as to spotlight Joe, because Joe has a few people's names who she wants to add in, that we should know that we're saying extra special prayers and thoughts for them today.
Cousin Amy, you're at the top of the list. So Cousin Amy, Steve Levine and family, Kyle, Maria, Ken, Joe, Larry, Virginia, Lacey, Lee, Carol, Alma, Katie, Axel, Eddie and family, the people of Afghanistan, especially those that are caught up in the bombing situation, and the people in New Orleans.
Amen. So let's take a moment just to take all of these people's names and thoughts into our hearts, and we're going to take just a minute up on my clock right here. We'll start at 7:20, and we'll just take a minute of silence. All right, thank you all for that, and want to start today with some thanks. Thanks to the people who are helping out. Thanks to Joe, who always moderates the chat. Thanks to Lee, who keeps track of our transcripting. To Alex, and who keeps all of the technology running, especially when I goof something up. Thanks to Maria and Joe, who run the donuts afterwards, to Kip and to Alex, who run the deep dive afterwards, to Katie, who is helping me so much with the technology, and anyone else whose name I didn't say who needs a little bit of extra thanks, I'll add you to the list. I want us to go straight to these little raffle tickets, and we haven't done this for a few weeks. And what I had been doing was I've been offering a little raffle ticket to anyone who did something in the past week for which they are proud. And it's kind of countercultural to say that you're proud of something that you did. Most of the time someone asks you how you are, we have a tendency to dwell a little on the negative. So I want to see if there are people who have something that they want to share that they did particularly in the last week for which they deserve a raffle ticket. And we'll start with our friend Hannah. Hannah, go ahead. What do you got, my friend?
I stood up for myself with a really nasty client of mine and set some boundaries.
Fantastic.
I didn't like that very much, but then I used your tissue example and said, no thank you.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Alex, can you unpin me, because it's getting that million people affected. A little bit weird. So well played there, Hannah, for standing up for yourself and not taking in the abuse. For that, you get a raffle ticket. I will write your name on the back of it. And as everyone knows, we do absolutely nothing with these tickets whatsoever. It's a thought piece. Carol Ann Clausen-Williams, what do you have to be proud of? We're going to pin you to the screen and tell us what do you got.
Okay, I kind of went high order with my book club, and like I do with my husband. And I try not to do that with people outside the family. Anyway, the following week I apologized to them individually, and then I called the person who I was really responding to, something one person said, and apologized to that person too.
Well, we are proud of you for being the big person that you are and doing that.
Yeah, finally, I'm able to do that.
Okay, well, we're going to continue to be proud of you. We're going to give you an extra raffle ticket. Well played. Is there somebody else who would like to share something that they did in the last week for which they're proud? Yes, Sherry, go ahead.
Can I share something that somebody else on here did?
I can't stop you at this point.
I'm in the middle of a kindness project for my girlfriend who lost her little boy 5 years ago, right before he was 5. And Emily and Marcus have done the most amazing kindness things, posted it on the website for a little boy.
That's very dear. So we'll make extra tickets for Marcus and Emily, and also for you, Sherry, because you're brave enough to ask for help, and that's to ask for support. So good on you. Do we have anyone else who would like to share something for which they're proud this week?
It's been really fun to do the Kitty Kindness Project.
Oh, wonderful, Emily. I'm glad to hear. And if Sherry, if you want to put a link in the chat so other people can see it, that'd be great. And if you're watching this on something and you're not in this Zoom room and you want to join so that you can be part of this conversation and we can be proud of you too, go on over to rotb.org, sign up for the newsletter, which you can get with 2 free downloads. The newsletter is also free, and you'll get an invitation to this Zoom meeting so that you can join us. So fantastic. Okay, folks, I want to do... Yeah, I heard somebody's there.
It was Cousin Amy.
Yeah, Cousin Amy.
I wanted to, actually, it's not something I'm proud of. I want to say a big thank you to the ROTC group.
Yeah. Well, you are welcome, and I think that one goes along with what we just said of asking for help can be a really brave thing. And Cousin Amy, you asked us to support you as you're going through a hard time. And I'm gonna make up at least 3 raffle tickets, A-M-Y, for you for asking for help and for taking help. That's a really hard thing to do. So extra credit to everyone who's been of help, who's been calling and sending notes, and extra credit to you, Amy, for persevering. Can we all give Cousin Amy a little hand slap, some kind of...
Cousin Amy.
Good.
Love you, Amy.
I love you guys.
Yeah. And so you all know, it's Cousin Amy because she's my second cousin on my dad's side, who we've never met in person, but that doesn't mean the love ain't there.
But you've met my brother.
I have met your brother, and we are related, so it's all good. So I'm glad you guys are here. If you just joined, Candace, Joan, Moja, Jess, Rose, glad to see you guys are all here too. I'm going to do what I'm going to call, what did I call it? I called it...
got married this week.
Oh, congratulations, Rob.
And we're celebrating it again today with both families.
That's fantastic. Good. I'm going to do something now, which I'm going to refer to as a small teaching. It's just this little piece of wisdom that I want to share with you. And this is how this small teaching goes. Here's a Rabbi Brian small teaching. And the small teaching is a visual that my friend Larry, not usual Larry, there's a second Larry who's also a mentor to me. This is from my buddy Larry Lincoln. And he talks about life like this. If you're going along life, and then sometimes there's this pit. There's this little pit that we, we're going around, la 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 la, we're walking along, and then boom, there's a pit. And what Larry says is that when he was younger, he would do this very natural thing, which was clawing at the side of the pit as he's going down. And he would claw at the side of the pit until he wound up at the bottom completely depleted. And then slowly he would make his way to get back up, because that's the path of life, right? We all have bumps and it's hard. And he said as he got older, and I'm pretty sure you can relate to this, as he got older, he realized that the more he just leaned in to the pit, the more he just let himself feel sad when he was sad, that he didn't try to claw his way to make the descent as slow as possible, but if he just accepted where he was, that he would, boom, kind of have a little bit of momentum to come up out of the pit. And so that's going to be Rabbi Brian's small teaching of the moment. So Rabbi Brian's small teaching, we'll call it, what should we call this?
Falling into the pit.
It's not, I gotta have something about like allowing yourself to fall into the pit. Embracing the pitfall. How's that?
Oh, yes.
Okay, we did it. Thank you. I think, Jess, that was you who said that?
Taking a trip.
I'm going with embracing the pitfall because I wrote it already. All right, you can call it whatever you would like. And also, I want to do a special. Was that you, Lee, who was just talking? It wasn't Lee, but I do want to say we do have a special guest with us today, and I know a lot of us already know this person. Lee, can you unmute yourself and then give us a little hi to Mom?
Oh, hold on a second.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. This is my mother.
Hello.
Hi, Mom.
Hello.
Joe and Maria and Hannah and Marie and Emily. Yep. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom.
Well, we're glad to see you. It's like a wonderful, wonderful. So thank you, Lee, for playing along there. Let me come back to where we were. That was our thanks. We did raffle tickets for being proud of ourselves. We did a small teaching called Embracing the Pitfall. I like that very much. And I want to go back, before we do our topic of the day, I want to go back and reteach something, but to reteach it because I don't think it goes like this. Those of you who want to do it along with me, who have practiced it, good. If you haven't, and that's fine. I want you right now, like starting now, I want you to pay attention to the words that are going on in your monkey mind. And as Kip gave me the phrase the other day, he said, it's monkey mind. Just bring some thoughtful bananas, give it to the monkey mind, and they'll be okay. So here's the thing I want you to pay attention to. I want you to pay attention to, what are you thinking? Like when you hear, I said, let's try this exercise again, and Emily said, oh yes, let's do it, because Emily's already practiced it and is good at it. Are you frustrated, and do you start getting snarky and mad at Emily? Do you start beating yourself up because you can't do it? Or are you filled with extra pride because you know you can do this? It's this metacognition, meta meaning above or beyond, right? Metacognition being thought. It's this idea of being able to notice what we're thinking. And that's the goal here. So try this if you would. Have your hands both facing yourself, your palms facing in, and make two fists. And this is a little thing called pinky thumb. And it goes like this. Put out a pinky and a thumb, if you would, please. One pinky, one thumb each hand. That's fantastic. And then close those in and do the opposite pinky and thumb. That's great. Now, you're only able to do this as well as you have practiced it. And I want that to be very clear. You only can pull your pinkies down and put your other pinky and thumb up as well as you have practiced it. And you're not going to be able to do this well if you haven't practiced it. And please let me be clear. I am not talking just about your ability to do your pinky and your thumb. I'm talking about your ability to stand up for yourself in the face of an obnoxious employer. Or I'm talking about your ability to choose love when everyone else around you is choosing hate. You're only going to be able to do it as well as you have practiced it. So here we go, let's try it. Pinky thumb, pinky thumb. Pinky thumb. I only see some of you doing this. That's all right. No, I actually see most of you doing it now that I'm looking. That's great. Pinky thumb, goes like that. And how easily frustrated you get. If you get frustrated, calm down. We're only talking about your ability to do a goofy hand exercise. If you can deal, there's a phrase in Hebrew, kal v'chomer, and it translates something to all the more so. And I don't want you to judge yourself harshly about it, but if you can't deal with your frustration at not being able to do pinky thumb, how do you think you're going to be able to deal with the frustrations of the world if this blows you out of the water? How are you going to be able to deal with something that's harder to do than this? So again, everybody, pinkies and thumbs, you're going to go pinky thumb, and it's not about pinky thumb, it's about watching yourself and noticing how frustrated you get when you're not able to do the very thing that you think you should be able to do. And if I were to ask you, and I will, what do you think you would need to do to get better at this? You would say, amazing! You all knew the answer to that. And do you think in your practice it would behoove you to lambast and scold yourself for not being able to do it well? Or do you think it would be better to lambast yourself for not being able to do something well, or would it be better if you were kind to yourself when you weren't able to do it better? So how many for lambast yourself? Just one, okay? And how many of you know that the only way, the better way to improve is by being kind? It looks like almost everyone. Again, this is not about pinky thumb, but when somebody really frustrates you and you have vowed to yourself to be kind to them nonetheless, but you find you're not today, and you go after them full throttle, it's just because you haven't practiced it to the point that you can do it easily. Any questions on that one? Give me some reaction, folks.
I was really surprised that I actually could, by concentrating slowly, I could do that. And I've actually learned to do it. I couldn't believe I actually learned to do it.
The same is going to be, thank you, Emily. The same is going to be true about our topic for today. Our topic today is going to be doubt. And how do we deal with uncertainty? And the answer is going to be, spoiler alert, by practicing being in the discomfort. How are we going to learn to deal with doubt? By practicing being in the discomfort. Let me try you another one. Here's going to be one that's also going to make you feel uncomfortable. Ready, folks? Let's try this. Everybody, if you would, I'm going to zoom my camera out so you can see a little bit more of me. Take your right hand, please. Place it upon your left ear. Take your left hand, please. Place it upon your nose. Wait, quick time out. This is the best religious service ever, because this is one of the things that we're doing. Right hand on your left ear, left hand on your nose. And here's what you're going to do. I'm going to do it first. Please don't do this yet. Clap, switch. Clap, switch. You try. Some of you have way more noses than you should have.
Yeah, not easy.
That's fantastic.
It comes way easier.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to go with you on that. Pinky thumb's easier. This one is not easy, and it leads you to frustration. And I'm going to say, feel what it feels like right now in your body to be frustrated. Because you need to get comfortable with that feeling. You need to get comfortable with that feeling of discomfort. Isn't that weird? You have to get comfortable with the feeling of discomfort. And the better you can be comfortable with the feeling of unease, the easier it is. That might bring us straight back to our little pit here. The better you can deal with the discomfort, the easier you're going to get out of it. Okay, fantastic. Let's take a breath of air. How are we doing, folks? Okay. Good to see. Good to see. Here's our quote for the day. Let's see what happens with it. It says this. This is from Rilke. Rilke says, "Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves like locked rooms and like books that are written in a very foreign tongue." Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart. Hey, quick question, folks. Anyone in this group have anything that's unsolved in their heart? Anybody? Is there? Because I need at least one person. I need at least one person who has something unsolved in their heart. Yes?
Yes.
We have things that are unsolved in our heart. And what Rilke is asking us to do, Rilke is saying, can you just sit with that thing? Can you sit with that thing that's unsolved in your heart? Can you love the question like it was a locked room to which you did not have the key, and like a book written in a language that you do not yet understand? Can you be that patient with the things that are unresolved in your heart? It reminds me of a quote that we did a long while ago. It was a quote from Lao Tzu. Do you remember this one? Do you remember this one? Lao Tzu said, "Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles? Can you remain unmoving until the right action arises by itself?" I'm going to say that again. Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles? Can you remain unmoving until the right action arises on its own?
Not easy.
I love that answer. I love that answer because I used to joke that the answer to that was no. I don't have the patience. But Joy, I like the way you say it better. It's not easy. Can we do it? Can we? Yeah. Is it easy? No. Is it worth it? I'm going to leave that up to you to decide.
Sounds to me like that's another thing about practice.
Say it a little bit more, Ray.
Well, we all have stuff going on in our mind, and we all want to get it fixed because who wants stuff running around in our mind like marbles in an empty box? But if you can just really just sit with it, sit with the discomfort, sit with the pain, and just realize that it's just part of living.
Yeah.
And as that saying goes, and this too will pass. It shall pass.
Can you?
But it takes time. It takes effort.
Right.
It takes practice.
And sometimes, Ray, if I can add to that, our struggling and striving to make sense of things that are nonsensical just makes it even worse. Our trying to get out of the situation like one of those finger puzzles that holds your fingers together, the more you pull against it, the tighter it holds a grip on you? How about all the things that, let's go back to the quote from Rilke, all the things that are unresolved in our hearts? So take a moment, think about one of those things that is unresolved in your heart. We have those things that are unresolved in our heart. And can we be patient with them? I'm going to give another quote from Rilke, which I found. Hold on, let me put it up on the screen. Alex, I'm getting a little extra echo on somebody. I don't know who or what. They're still a good person. Here we go. Overlay, text overlay. Let me give you the second quote from Rilke. Oh no! Please hold. Your service is very important to me. This will be answered by the next available religious official.
For a rabbi, press 1.
Here it is. Here it is. Oh, it's a little hard to read. How do I fix that? Okay, I have an idea. That goes away here, and then this goes to there, and then this goes here, and I do that. And now you can see. Oh, crud. All right, option 3 is going to look like this.
My work settled, you know.
Yeah, I do think that sometimes it doesn't matter how brilliant whatever it is I have to say is. It's really my patience with dealing with things that don't go well, which is better teaching than anything I do say.
Yeah, I think so.
That may be true.
Okay, you don't have to agree so quickly. I mean, you can make it seem at least. Give a guy a moment.
But it's so good. It sounds to me like this is sort of a bit.
A bet.
A pit.
Oh, a pit. Okay. How am I going to do this? Oh, here's how I'm going to do this. Watch this.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Here's another quote from Rilke that I want us to look at. And Alex, you can find that in our document if you throw it into the chat. Rilke said, "Your doubt may become a good quality. Your doubt may become a good quality if you train it. It must become knowing. It must become critical." So he's saying, embrace your doubt. It must become knowing. It must become critical. Ask it. That is, ask your doubt whether it wants to spoil something for you. Why something is ugly demands proof from it. Text it, and you will find it perplexed and embarrassed, perhaps rebellious. But don't give in. Insist on arguments and act this way. Watch carefully and consistent every single time. And the day will arrive when from a destroyer it will become one of your best workers, perhaps the cleverest of all that are builders in your life. Let me explain it this way. Okay. To embrace the doubt because the doubt adds something. Here's how we're going to do this one. Ready? We're going to do a card trick. Rita?
Yes.
Pile A or pile B? Which one should we keep?
A.
We're going to keep A. I'm going to get rid of B. Rita, call on somebody else and they're going to pick the next one. Bruce, A or B? Which one are we going to keep?
B.
We're going to keep B. Call upon somebody, Bruce.
Oh.
B.
Joe. We're going to keep A. You guys, I'm trying to do this as legit as possible. This might have messed up, but I got 3 cards here, 4 cards here. Joe, call upon somebody.
Robin.
Which one are we going to keep?
B.
We're going to keep B. Just to mix it up, Robin, you get another turn.
I'm going to go with A.
Robin, remember how we practiced it? I said to go B the second time. You want to do A?
Oh, darn.
We're going to do A. All right, Robin, pick somebody else, and they're going to pick which of the two cards. And I have a card here in my hand, which has been, well, I have a card in my hand, which is a prediction card. Robin, pick somebody, and they're going to pick the other last card.
Boy.
Go ahead.
Hey, keep A.
We're going to keep A. Now I want to talk about doubt. Doubt makes things... Here's the card that I picked. And I want you to just see what happens in your head with doubt, because this is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That was pretty. Try seeing that at a different religious service. You're not going to see. You're not going to see miracles like that, buddy. Yeah. So I want you to take a moment and see what's going on in your head with regard to doubt. That was. I don't know that this was a perfect analogy, but this was in my planning. I thought a good idea. Where's doubt with this magic trick? It's definitely a magic trick. There's no sorcery was happening here. Where are you with regard to not knowing how the heck that was done? Because I'm going to assume that
Real or not?
I'm going to assume most of you don't know how that was done, and you have questions and doubt that maybe. How are you feeling with that doubt?
I have a theory, but I just...
Are you uncomfortable not knowing, Carol? Are you all right with not knowing? How many of you are uncomfortable with not knowing? Really? You guys are all that comfortable with not knowing how things work?
I'm irritated.
I appreciate that, Joe. I appreciate that. Somebody
I'm
interested to see what's going on. Anybody? All right, let me try a different one. I'm going to blow your minds now. In the back of my office, in clear sight this whole time. Hold on. Let me get rid of the quote here. Do you see right over here? There's a box. It's been sitting there the whole time. It's kind of reflecty. But you see right there, it says Prediction Rabbi Brian, sealed box. Let me bring that here. I have it right here. I'm not cheating anybody. Prediction Rabbi Brian. I made a few predictions. There's the date on it. I don't want to show it to you. For those of you who are comfortable enough not understanding and who want to practice not knowing, close your eyes. I don't want you to see what's right here. I want to see how comfortable you can be, because when I show you what's under my fingers, doubt is going to set in. So please close your eyes right now. You don't have to. You can look and you can see what it is that I wrote. I mean, at least this one in the bottom right corner is pretty freaking amazing. I mean, I could have known that ahead of time, but this one I definitely could not have known. Oh, that person has their eyes closed, but that's fine. Let's take a moment. Alex, did we already set somebody to be our today's announcer?
Yes.
Who did we set to be today's announcer?
Gord.
Okay, that's fantastic. Let's move over to Gord doing the announcement. You can open your eyes now, and we'll get back to doubt in a moment. And Gord, would you be so kind as to read to us? And again, guys, while Gord's reading the announcement, just feel what it feels like to have such doubt, to have such complexity in your mind, and to stick with this idea of Rilke, to have patience. Gord, it's you, buddy.
It's me. Okay, here we go. Hello, I'm Gord. I'm today's Saturday service announcer.
Oh, wait a second! Gord, I forgot to do the music. There it is. I only do that to make. I do it to make Alex happy. I apologize. Go ahead, Gord.
All right. Hello, I'm still Gord. I am today's Saturday announcer for this, the very last Saturday in August 2021. Wahoo, wahoo, wahoo. Here's the applause. There we go. Thank you. So support this work. If you were in a church, you drop some money in a basket. Go to rotb.org to make a donation. Clubhouse announcement. Mr. Rogers said, look for helpers. With regard to time you spend on the internet, maybe instead of doom scrolling in the echo chambers, join the vibrant, lovely ROTB online clubhouse. It's where the helpers are. Office hours. The Zoom crew hangs out with Rabbi Brian at this time, at this same location on Tuesdays. Join us here on the 31st of August, the same link, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Shechina group, which I might have mispronounced.
No worries.
Okay, Benite de Loki. Let's talk about God. Post in the chat if you want to be a God talker. Rita will be looking out for your name there. This group is on fire, and not in a bad way. Spiritual religious handy sheets. Catch up and keep notes handy. Rabbi Brian has created a set of 5 colorful PDFs with his notes on the biggest topics we talk about. Take a look on Etsy, link in the chat. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, Rabbi Brian style. Jews, non-Jews, and in-betweens are invited. You and your friends are invited. It's happening live on September 10th. No longer live in person in Portland, but from the comfort of your Zoom. It will be a wonderful experience. Link in the chat. Invite your friends. The next hour, stick around for small groups. We have Deep Dive with Al and Kip for people who want to take a subject and burn a hole in it. Donuts with Maria and Joe for people who want to talk about topics brought up in today in an atmosphere of donuts. There's the poetry room. If you have a poem you'd like to share or listen in, meet up in the poetry room. And now, back to our fabulous service host, Rabbi Brian.
Thank you, Gord. Thank you very much for doing that. So I want to give you guys I want to show you the Rabbi Brian handy sheets because they're pretty cool. It has a lot of what we've talked about. Here's the 4 qualities of love, the little ditty about a spoon, the different ways of showing love, dabda. Thank you. It has... I don't know if you remember this one. Do you guys remember this? That the gratitude is equal to the amount of thanks you have minus the number of complaints you have. All of these things on one handy sheet, and then all of the tools that we've been using. Here's a page on the change matrix, a change on the 5 stages of learning, levels of commitment, and the 5 or 6 spiritual elements of a spiritual life. If you think that my notes would be of help to you, to keep track of all the things, you go, oh, I remember that thing. The handy sheets are available on Etsy. The link is in the chat. They're pretty, they're colorful. I had a great time making them. And also, no, I'm going to leave that just right there. Okay. We are at, let's get back to doubt. Whose brain is completely fine with the fact that note card might or might not have said things that it should not have said? How are you doing with doubts, my friend? Anything come to mind? Yes, Kip?
No, I'm fine with it. Sorry.
You're fine with that. You had your eyes closed, though.
I did.
You did have your eyes closed. That's like not getting on the roller coaster, which I think is the smarter move. I do, because the roller coaster, I'm just going to feel ill at the end of it, so why hurt myself? Anybody who watched have where are you with regard to doubt? How's doubt feeling? Yeah, Gord.
Well, I'm curious. Al mentioned curiosity in the chat earlier, and so I'm kind of comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Like, I'm really intrigued, and I want to know more.
So let's talk about this. The difference between doubt and curiosity. Curiosity. What do you have? What can we make of them? What happens? Both of them, we don't understand how something happens, but they have very different flavors to them, don't they?
Curiosity is comfortable.
Curiosity is fine. It's comfy. It's okay. Doubt? Not so good. There's a great quote from Voltaire, which maybe I can get. Oh, I'm just going to rewrite it for you. Voltaire said this.
Well,
he didn't. He spoke in French and Latin. I don't know exactly how to say this. He said, "Dubium incommodo." Doubt is uncomfortable. Uh-oh. Totally spelled that wrong. Certum ridiculum.
Certainty is ridiculous.
Doubt might be uncomfortable. So we have doubt, curiosity, and let's add certainty to our list.
Okay.
If curiosity is okay, doubt is no good. What would we say about certainty?
It's ridiculous.
Are you sure? That's a joke. That is a joke. I'm proud of that one. Say that again, Ray.
Yeah. Certainty is
what religion tries to provide.
Certainty is what religions often try to provide. Correct. That's good. And yet,
It's temporary at best.
certainty is temporary at best. Okay, hold on, folks.
Rabbi.
Yes. Hannah, was that Hannah?
Yes, that's me. What's the difference between certainty and clarity?
Ooh.
Good question.
Because I would say it's like doubt is to curiosity as certainty is to clarity, right?
Doubt is to curiosity. Doubt's the yicky one. Curiosity is the okay one. As certainty is to clarity. Certainty is not such a good one. But clarity is all right. How do we feel about that?
I like that.
Okay. Well, there we have it.
Easy.
How? But I got a question though.
Oh,
I'm writing it down so you guys can see it, but you can't see the screen right now. Hold on.
there are only certain things that are amenable to certainty, like mathematics.
Yes, correct.
There we are.
Here's my question. How do we go and turn our doubt into curiosity? How do we turn... Well, I don't know if we have to turn certainty into clarity, but how do we stay in this, not in this? How do we get to this, but not that? How? How do we do it? It would seem like we have the tools. N'est-ce pas? That was French.
For me,
Wait,
hold on, Stephen. Yes, sir.
Curiosity is motivating.
Curiosity is motivating. Doubt, I don't know how it's done, and I don't care. Curiosity, I'm actually going to take some action on it.
So I would think the way to do it is by erasing the doubt.
And that goes right back to
that's Rilke's answer too. So obviously what you said is true. That if we embrace doubt, we come to curiosity.
Curiosity is non-judgmental.
Oh, how about doubt? Is doubt judgmental?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like doubt has that element of fear to it.
I don't know.
Wait, say that again. Doubt has an element of...
Fear to it.
I don't know who is speaking. Who is speaking there?
Hi,
Jess. So though you guys know, like, it seems like I know everyone really well. Well, that's because they've all come and been here before, and I don't quite know everyone's voice, so I apologize, Jess, that I didn't know that was you. Say it again now that I've said all that and I lost what you said.
I was saying that it seems to me that doubt has an element of fear that goes along with it, but curiosity doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't uncomfortable not knowing what would happen, but I was uncomfortable that it wouldn't work. Or I had a little bit of fear that your magic trick wouldn't work.
And curiosity, on the other hand,
Fear with curiosity. I noticed his openness.
I'm going to tell you this one's brand new. Here is another or a new little rap. Here's a Rabbi Brian's small teaching part 2. I'm doing all French today, which is new. Hold on. Très bien. Small teaching. Je parle français avec un accent aigu. Okay, small teaching. That's my one joke in French. Here's a small teaching. Let's try this on. When you're going through life and you're looking and you're seeing something that just makes no sense at all, how about instead of going at it with doubt or with doubt or with certainty, right? You see, I'm going to give an example of something that I just heard that in Ontario, out in Toronto, that a group of people, anti-maskers, marched down the street, hold on, wait for this, carrying American flags and Trump signs.
In Canada?
Yeah, that was the part that got to me too, Rita. In Canada. And when you see something that is that far-fetched, that crazy, that they are certainly that's crazy. I'm not filled with curiosity. I'm filled with doubt and fear on that one. But what if, because that's not helping anything. What if instead of that, you imagine, back up for a second, you imagine you're holding a giant tub of movie theater popcorn. And when you're facing something that you just don't understand, instead of getting up into the fear, instead of getting up into the judgment, oh, this is interesting, isn't it? And you just watch it with a little bit of distance, with a little bit of detachment, as though you're just watching a movie. Because what else are you going to do? I'm going to ask us, let's try that, folks. Oh boy. There goes. There we go. Everyone, when something comes up this week, let's give it a little practice right now. When something comes up this week that is just mind-boggling, how are we going to get ourselves into curiosity? Well, we're going to do it by not getting into judgment. And how might we do that? Everyone grab your imaginary tub of popcorn. Everyone, something unimaginable just happened in front of you.
Just observe.
Just observe it, not to enter into judgment with it. So I have arranged again with the universe to give you practice on this homework. And I have been promised by those in the Department of Art and Records, in the Department of Heavens, they have promised me that something is going to happen this week that will trigger you. And you're going to have the opportunity to react at it with judgment, with certainty, or to practice. And you might not be able to do it really well at first. But to practice a little bit of detachment from it so we can get into curiosity. Our spiritual homework of this week, this week I'll practice the TWIP of the week, TWIP. The TWIP of the week is this week I'll practice curiosity. Folks, what's your homework this week to practice? Because curiosity is going to turn doubt into something that we can tolerate. Curiosity is going to turn doubt into something we can tolerate. I don't know what's going to happen with the masks. I don't know what's going to happen in Afghanistan. I don't know what's going to happen with global warming. I don't know what's going to happen with a lot of things. But if I can move myself into curiosity, I'm not saying not to be involved, but let me just look at this for a moment. Let me see what's going on, that I might have an easier week.
We are in the last 5 minutes, so it's a good time to do the 40-minute review.
What is a one sentence?
No,
I know that didn't make sense time-wise, but this is just where I found myself. Lee, thank you for being extra expressive so I could see that. For those of you who couldn't see that, Lee made an obnoxious gesture towards me. And now it's being taken on by Rob as well. That's great. Let me ask you, what is something that you're getting from this week? If you got nothing else, the last sentence that I said a few times might work, but what are you taking from this week?
Make yourself a big bowl of popcorn.
Yes.
This week, make yourself a big bowl of popcorn. And somebody, because not everyone understands exactly what that means, why are we making ourselves a giant big bowl of popcorn? Because if we make ourselves a big bowl of popcorn, we might be able to fill in the blank. What?
Be curious instead of doubtful.
Yeah, stay curious.
Detach yourselves for curiosity.
Detach ourselves to have a little bit more curiosity.
Give yourself a chance to step back, pause, and
yeah. And how about if something gets really bad and you don't know what to do? Go make some popcorn. That will slow you down.
I posted a popcorn link in the chat.
Say that again, Alex.
Oh, I posted a popcorn link in the chat.
I don't know what that means, but
may I share my screen for just 10 seconds?
You have the technology. Do it.
This is the link that I posted.
Oh yeah. There's another really cute one of the Daily of Jon Stewart doing the same. Alex, can you pull that one up as well for us? Yeah, Jon Stewart GIF. Also, my official Rabbi ruling, it is pronounced GIF. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
GIF is the peanut butter. GIF is the meat.
Is the animated thing. It's a GIF. GIF. Thank you very much. I'm glad we cleared that up.
I really appreciate that the transcript just translated that as meme is the enemy.
Oh, nice. Well played. Folks, I thank you all for coming. In a minute, we're going to change hosts. Oh, there we go. There's Jon Stewart eating some popcorn. Thank you, Alex, for sharing that with us.
You make that funny.
Folks, in a minute, we're going to move over to the second hour of the service. And please, can you invite your friends to the service that's happening on September 10th? We planned it out in a little bit more detail yesterday. It's looking to be fantastic. It will not be live in person. It's just going to be on the web. But I do hope that I'm going to still be able to broadcast it from the beautiful church downtown. And please come to that. Please bring your friends. The links are in the chat for that. Stick around. We have Donut Hour. If you've never stuck around for the second hour is really fun. Stick around for the second hour and go into a little bit more in private groups and something that's not being broadcast to a large group of people. To share a little bit more, to follow up on topics that we talked about today. There's a Donut Hour. There's a deep dive group with Kip and with Al. Donuts is with Maria and with Joe. There's a poetry room that Katie often hosts. If you have a poem that you want to share, you have a favorite poem, go grab it off the shelf and bring it to the poetry room. It's there. And then there's the Wild West room, which next week is finally going to be used, I know, for at least one thing. I hope to see you there next week. Let me sign off with lots of love to all of you. Thank you. And let's all give a wave to all the people on the web. Bye, web people.
Bye, web people.
Goodbye, folks. Alex, let's stop the broadcast. Can you? Do I stop the broadcast? Do you stop the broadcast? I stop the broadcast. There we go.